try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next?
Here we go, guys. Wednesday morning. Oh yeah. Dump truck. So, guys, what is up? So, a follow-up segment to last weekend's video. More dump trucks. I have given up on taking the Blazer or the Jeep to sundown. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You know, some of you guys agree with me. You don't want to rush anything. Nothing. But they're both like right there, you know. I'm working on the doors. I got to pull an alternator off, take it to the repair shop, see why it ain't working. And I'm waiting on a belt to come in that I ordered, because the belt that was on there that came with the alt bracket's way too long. But I did get a hold of Billy after filming Monday, my outro section. That was the outro. Billy's like, yeah, man, I'll put you together a 45 C-Max. So my wife's going to run everything to him and drop it off. And, you know, them C-Maxes, they don't take a long time put together. I got the whole module, so, I mean, there's enough cells in there for 245. So I got bars and balancer and everything for one. He can throw it together, no problem. But that way we can put the vital power back in the edge, which was my plans anyway. At some point, I'm just going to do it for sundown. We're going to throw the Team Ain't Loud stickers on that bad boy and take it, which it'll be kind of nice. You know, we'll get the ride in the AC, and it's going to have benefits. But anyway, let's get into today's video, shall we? I had somebody wanting to know, I guess they wanted info on how to properly, get the phone out of there, how to set gains from start to finish. Now, yeah, here, check this out. Dump truck. I told y'all, I ain't bullshitting out here. But anyway, damn, a lot of dump trucks. They busy this morning. Anyway, to properly set your gains, guys, you need to start at your source. And by source, I am meaning head unit. Start at your head unit and work your way back. And yes, you can set your gains properly on your amps, on your mids and highs also. But you got to start at the front and work your way back. I really like a DD1. An O-scope works perfect also. And I hate to say it, you kinda, to do it properly, you need one of them two tools. But you don't have to have them. And what I'm meaning by that is, like for instance, on my Kenwood head unit, my volume goes 35. I just picked 32, and I always pick a good 4 or 5 numbers away from the max number because it's going to be safe no matter what. You know, normally the last 2 volume clicks on a head unit are going to be where you're starting to get clipping at. So you start there. You run into your bass knob if you're doing subwoofer side, or DSP if you're running out of your DSP to a bass knob, and so on and so forth. So if you're running a DSP, you definitely need to check the gain for clipping coming out of that, because a lot of times a DSP will take a 2-volt input signal and turn it into 6-7 volts real quick. But just double check it. If you already got the O-scope there, or the DD1, DD1 Plus, it ain't gonna hurt you at all to go ahead and check that signal again. And to do that, you're gonna have the volume you chose on your head unit that you know is clean going into the DSP, out of the DSP, into the bass knob turned all the way up. It has to be turned all the way up. And then check that signal again, confirm that it's clean. Then run it into your subwoofer amplifier, hook up your O-scope or your DD1, turn the gain up slowly until you hit the clipping point. There's two ways to set it at that point. You can set it right to where that clip light is just barely like comes on and leave it. That way you're getting a little clipping. Or you can hit that clip and just ease it down till it goes out and leave it there. I choose the latter of the two. I don't like having any clip light on at all. But for that extra bit of loudness, you can just turn right till it comes on. That's, you know, tuning basically up to clipping. The bad thing about doing it that way, and as I mentioned before, I choose volume 32 or 35. I demo at 28. That's 4 clicks down. I do that for a number of reasons. One, I like to set my gains with my voltage around 15.6, 15.7. I hardly ever drop under 15.8. So I know my voltage will be good. I know I'm not getting clipping at that voltage. So I can demo all day long at volume 28. Keep my voltage, you know, over 15.6, 15.7 where I set my gains. And I know I'm clean. I'm going to be clean. There's no way I'm not going to be clean. Unless I'm playing a track that's kind of dirty or that is, you know, recorded higher or rebased higher than negative 5 dB. Because most of us, you know, and most rebasers, they go 5.5, negative 5 dB or negative 6 up to negative 7, which is a lower tone or lower gain than negative 5 dB. So when you get on north side of negative 5 dB, like if they recorded it at negative 3, that's quickly going to introduce clipping. But I got a whole different video on that on here where I kind of discuss that, because I like to set everything with a negative 5 dB 40 hertz tone, because any good rebaser is gonna rebase their music lower than that. Now, what you run into, or well, what I like to do is, if I go into lanes and burp, eyelash, I like to burp a 0 dB track. That will definitely introduce clipping really quick. But hey, we straight clipping sometimes in the lanes. You got to clip, get that extra edge. But that's just me personally. I ain't telling you to do that, because if you don't have good voltage and, you know, your amplifiers are already back there starving for power because you got weak voltage or weak electrical, then that burp is more than likely going to take an amplifier or a subwoofer out of the game. But so we've discussed, you know, from head unit through DSP, through bass knob, back to subwoofer amplifier on setting that gain clean. And like I say, guys, it is best to have a DD1 or an O-scope. It is not necessary if you go a few clicks down on your head unit. The way I like to do things is run through a bass knob. I don't take my sub side through my DSP at all. So I go straight from head unit into bass knob, out of bass knob to an RCA distribution block to my amplifiers. Now, my amplifiers have clip lights on them. Actually, all of them do. Even my mids and highs amps. From all of my experience testing with a DD1 or an O-scope, my amplifier clip lights are on point, which means that when there is distortion or clipping, they come on at that point. I know my head unit's clean. Bass knob makes a little bit of difference, but not a lot. We'll get into that in a minute. So basically what I do is take a multimeter, since I have multiple sub amps, I hook the multimeter on AC voltage into the amplifier, you know, hot to hot, or hot to speaker hot, negative speaker ground. I turn it up till I hit the clipping point. I back it off a hair till the light goes out. I look at the voltage. I write it down. I go to the next amp. I do the same thing, write it down. I do all 4 amps that way. Whichever amplifier had the lowest voltage, I set all the amplifiers to that, because obviously you can't turn that one up to match the other. So that ensures they're all clean. Now, I'm leaving a little bit on the table, especially demoing at 28 instead of 32. I am definitely leaving something on the table there. But that's a lot of power per sub, so it's pre-moded demo there. And as I said, I can demo pretty much all day and just have to worry about things getting hot, not blowing, or not my electrical falling off. More dump trucks. Now, if you would swap out a bass knob in a system, you should reset your gains. I am not gonna lie to you, you definitely should. They are not all created equal. The little pot they put in there, or pointometer or potentiometer, whatever the hell you want to call it, they are not all created equal. You might have one that's a little on the shady side that's cutting down your signal by a whole volt. You could be losing a volt out of your head unit going into that knob and out of that knob. When that knob is all the way up, you could be a volt down. Cool, it don't matter. The gains on your amplifiers will make up for it. But say you order a good quality knob from Zach at Slam Panda and you throw that bad boy in there, you've gained, say, 3/4 of a volt back over that cheap shoddy one. Now, when you roll your bass knob all the way up with your amp set where they were set, you're introducing clipping because you got more signal. So it's always a good idea to reset your gains after you change bass knob. How do you change anything really on that side? Reset your gains. I like to reset my gains once a month, whether they need it or not. Just the vibration of everything can move them little pots in there, so it's always a good thing. And even after a month, when I would like recheck my gains and reset them, they were off. So it never hurts, especially you guys only have like 1 or 2 amps on the sub side. It's a good deal to change them. Now we're going to move up to your high side, your mids and highs. There again, you've already checked your in-dash. You know what number your in-dash distorts at. You're good there. Cable running into DSP or not, whichever, check it. Make sure the signal's still clean. Because a lot of times you can have things turned up on the DSP or whatever where your sub might not be into clipping, but your high side might be. It's always a good idea to check it. It ain't going to hurt nothing. If you've already got the tools there, you're golden. But go ahead and check it. Then coming out of your mids and highs amps, you know, throw the old DD1 on there. Play your 1000 kilohertz tone, or 1000 hertz, what, 1000 hertz, not kilohertz. 1 kilohertz, 1000 hertz. Go ahead and play that. And make sure, you know, that the amp ain't putting out any distortion. Then adjust your gain and everything else on the amps that you need to adjust, and everything should be clean. Like I said, I'm running the Def Bunch full bridge amplifiers for all my mids and highs, and they all, actually, I just found them by accident one day, but I'm like, hey, right beside the power light's a clip light. And believe it or not, I don't think I've ever had them amps clip. But like I said, you know, I'm down a good amount of number on my volume. And at one point, my 500 before, I had it turned like the gain on it all the way up. But I had everything kind of mid-level on my DSP. So that would definitely do it, because I could actually go in my DSP and turn the volume for the mids up a little bit and it was still golden. But that is how you set your gains from start to finish. Do you need a DD1 or an O-scope? Not if all your amplifiers have clip lights. And in that situation, You know, if your head unit goes to volume 50, I would definitely set it around volume 45. Like 5 clicks down. We all know, and I pretty well know, any brand name head unit, Pioneer, Kenwood, Alpine, Sony, they're going to be clean up until like the last 2 clicks. And that's even subject to change depending upon where your sub level and everything's at. So, you know, you can easily guesstimate a clean volume number. If your amps all have clip lights on them, I trust them clip lights. Some people are like, oh no, I still use a DD1. Good, man. It never hurts to just be sure, you know. But in my experience, the clip lights on amplifiers are spot on. And my first experience with that was the Taramps MD8Ks, and they were solid. Checked against the DD1 and O-scope, and 95% of the time, the amp clip light would flash before the DD1 would. So, I still have a DD1. I still use the DD1. But if your amps have clip lights, you're pretty safe. And, you know what I said about battery voltage? A lot of people never thought about that. You know, if you charge at a max of 16.2, you don't want to set your amplifiers at 16.2. Because as soon as you start playing a song, you're going to be about 15 seconds into it, and your voltage is going to drop down to 16. At that point, you've dropped 0.2 of a volt. That will introduce clipping. I like to go out when my battery's down, you know, roughly a 0.5 volt. And you'll know, playing your system, you know where your voltage drops to, because you'll be watching your voltmeter all the time. So at that point, try to get your voltage around that point where it drops to, and then set all your gains, because everything above that, you're just going to be super clean. Like your voltage is going to be on point. Your tuning's going to be super clean because you're above the voltage where you set your gains. Anyway, guys, I hope this helps somebody. You know, I try to go kind of in depth on how to set this stuff for the new guys, and a lot of you old school guys, you already know all this stuff. But a lot of the new guys don't, and that's what I'm really trying to reach, is help the newer guys in the car audio, help them understand things, make them enjoy car audio, because you can't get no help in the groups on Facebook. You know, you ask how to set your gain, they tell you you're stupid and that you're a dick. So I try to help out the best I can. And a lot of people never really thought about the whole voltage thing. It just popped in my head one day. And I'm like, hey, if I set everything clean here and I play above that, I know I'm clean. But anyway, guys, thank y'all for watching my videos. Thank you to my members, YouTube member on here. Thank you to guys on my Patreon. I still have a couple of names to write on the back of my enclosure. I didn't even open the back of the Jeep this weekend. I just kind of put the window in and jumped on the Blazer. This coming up weekend, we're going to be working on the Edge. For those of y'all that watch Big D Wiz on here, you've seen that big ass Vital Power amp that he tested a while back, the blue one, that he said was mine. It's actually my wife's amp. It ain't actually mine, it's hers. And we're putting it back in the Edge with a 45 C-Max. I'm going to film that for you guys. And that little car did 55s at one point. A little know-all. Consistent 54s, I have got a 55 out of it like once. But that little car, it got loud on that big-ass amp. So that's what we're going to be jumping on, guys. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Peace out, everybody. Dump truck. No, bass on.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a